Hi, I'm Dr. Chuck Betters, and we have the privilege in this particular format to answer questions that come from you. I hope you will take the time to write down your questions. They may be used in future episodes of Ask Dr. Betters. One of the questions broke my heart. It simply caused me to weep in my soul for the person who wrote this question, but I want to read it to you and you'll catch the drift of what I'm trying to say. This man says, I am a 45-year-old double amputee. I lost both my legs as a baby. I cry myself to sleep at night. I am so lonely. It seems like the world has taught ladies to want a rich and good-looking guy, even if this guy might treat them badly. It seems like ladies prefer a bad guy over a good-hearted man in a wheelchair. My heart hurts so badly. What do you have to say about my situation? One of my favorite expressions that I use regularly when I'm in the process of holding my own personal pity party is that God is sovereign and you can trust him. Now that's easy to say when everything's going right, but it's much more difficult to say when everything is seemingly going against you. I feel for your pain. I feel for your loneliness. I would encourage you to put yourself out there, so to speak. I would encourage you to find people who are in like circumstances to yours. Find help groups or support groups that you might be able to attend where you can meet people who are in the same environment that you find yourself in. I do want to read something to you from Paul's letter to the Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 7. He gives a whole bunch of explanations about his doctrine on marriage and singleness and divorce and all of these other topics that were extremely difficult for people in that first century environment to address. Many of them came out of pagan backgrounds. Many of these people had 5, 6, or 7 wives, and then they became Christians. And the question became, what do I do with these extra wives, so to speak? How do I handle the idea of marriage and divorce and remarriage? And Paul takes a general look at the whole concept of how God views all of this. But he makes this incredible statement. I want to read it to you, beginning with verse 32 of 1 Corinthians chapter 7. He says, I want you to be free from anxieties. That's a pretty good rule of thumb, isn't it? I want to be free, you to be free from anxieties. Then he explains what he means. He says, the unmarried man is anxious about the things of the Lord, how to please the Lord. And I would ask you to take a look inward at this point and address that question. Are you really anxious about pleasing the Lord, or are you more consumed with your own circumstance and the fact that things seem to be going so badly for you? He says, but the married man is anxious about worldly things, how to please his wife. Married men have responsibilities. That's what he's trying to say. His interests are divided. Now, he's not saying that's a bad thing. He's saying that that's just the way it is. If you're a married man or a married woman, you have responsibilities in your home and you have responsibilities to build the kingdom of God. But the unmarried man is focused, or ought to be focused, on being very specific about building the kingdom of God. Now, you can do that. You can be a kingdom builder. There's no reason why in your circumstances you can't be focused on building the kingdom of God. He says the unmarried or the engaged woman is anxious about the things of the Lord, how to be holy in body and spirit. But the married woman is anxious about worldly things, how to please her husband. Same thing can be said about the husband as well. I say this for your own benefit, not to lay any restraint upon you, but to promote good order and to secure your undivided devotion to the Lord. That's the whole point he's trying to make. God is looking for you to have an undivided devotion to the Lord. you can find your purpose and you can find your niche. He would say earlier in the chapter, if you're single, don't seek to be married. Don't make that your focus. If you're married, don't seek to be loosed from the marriage. That causes a divided look. That causes you to be focused on the wrong things. He wants you to be focused on the loyalty and the concern for building the kingdom of God and using the gifts and the talents and the abilities you have to help build that kingdom. Now, we have a variety of resources here at MARKINC Ministries that I believe will be very, very helpful to you, because there are other people who have helped us to produce these resources who are in very similar circumstances to you. And I would encourage you to go to our website, markinc.org, and check out those resources. I believe you'll find them to be very helpful. In summary, what I want to say to you is, I really feel for you. I really feel for the pain that is in this question. My heart is grieved for you. But I want your focus, your eyes to start looking in a different direction, that it is God who has placed you in this situation. Exodus 4:11 makes that very clear. God has placed you in this situation, and here's the key, for a reason. He has a purpose for you, and that purpose, once discovered, is what will bring great joy to your role as a kingdom builder. I hope this helps.